Start ladder.
Hey guys, what's going on?
What's up, man? All right, so this is Rip That Wax.
Rip that wax. Sorry, I'm not Charlie Munger. I apologize to disappoint you, Josh.
Oh, well,
I just
gosh.
rip that wax. I think I'm concerned you guys are going a little backwards because you had Lefko on, last week as your hour two guest. Now you got Rip That Wax on. People are like, who is this guy?
No, Lefko, unfortunately, it's all downhill from there for our show. But for you as a guest, I think we're doing quite well, man. Look, tell Josh, and Josh already knows obviously, but the audience as well, a little bit about yourself and kind of what you told me about yourself too, in terms of not quite cards yet, but your professional background.
Well, I'm a film producer, and I primarily work a lot in documentaries. And I think I was on the Clubhouse chat you guys were on last week, talking a lot about documentaries. And I just couldn't help but think, man, I gotta talk to these guys because you guys were like colliding my two worlds of like cards and docs and movies. It's a lot of fun. So I shot you a message and thought maybe you'd be interested in talking a little bit about that stuff. But I produced the documentary More Than a Game, which I hate calling it the LeBron doc because
It is.
but that's what everybody might know. They know it as the LeBron James documentary. But and the reason why I say that is because we never set this out to be. We didn't make this film. It's not a story really about LeBron. It's about five boys chasing a dream. And there's the real central figure of the movie is the coach. Three of the five boys were fatherless, and he really took on this role to like help them achieve their dreams. And so obviously LeBron's I don't think we would have gotten the money and the distribution and all that other stuff without LeBron. But yeah, that's More Than a Game. Go see it. Yeah. Oh nice. Pulled it up right there. Crazy.
Dude, I want to start by saying I've seen that doc like five times.
Really?
Yeah, because dude, it's LeBron. I look for any LeBron content I can possibly get my hands on, and that is the best doc that I've ever seen that has LeBron in it. So kudos, man. That's a great doc.
Thank you. Thanks for seeing it. I appreciate it. It's been around a while now, so
Yeah.
I don't know if there may be some, like I meet younger people all the time and they have no idea what I'm talking about. So if there's anyone who hasn't seen it, it'd be great. Go check it out. I think it might be on Amazon Prime right now, I think.
Yeah, it
Yeah, I
is.
haven't seen it. But yeah, it was a blast to make, It was a good time, and I was in my like about early mid-20s when we were on that journey. But it was, really was what kind of started my career in filmmaking. It was the first thing that I had an opportunity to make with my good friend Chris, who's the director from Akron. And then it really like gave, going in the film industry, if anyone's in it, like knows it's tough. It's like one of those things, like a catch-22, where you got to have credit to, to really get anything. And I didn't have, I was at the time working at a voiceover agency in LA, and I hadn't really have these opportunities, but that film really changed everything for my career. And yeah, it was an amazing time.
I have so many questions.
Please.
I mean, the obvious one is, did you get to interact with all these guys in the doc, or how was like the process of creating the documentary? How involved were you with the actual people that you made the doc about? So obviously, I want to know about LeBron for that question, but just kind of everybody involved.
Yeah, for sure. It was a long process. Like documentary is not like a normal narrative feature where maybe you develop it and shoot it in a few months and post. Maybe it's like a year, 2 year turnaround. This thing was something that took years, to make. Starting with Chris, it's really Chris's story, the director, to tell, because he was from Akron, Ohio. He started it as a student film, like when he was a film student. He at the time that he started to get involved, it was already like LeBron was probably like a sophomore, junior, I think, at St. V, and he was already big. There was a lot of people trying to make a documentary. They had hired a publicist for the school to just handle all the people trying to come in and make things. Like Spike Lee was going in. Everybody, who's who was like trying to get in to make this thing. And Chris, his whole thing was like, he got in front of the publicist and was like, I just want to get an A on my student film. I'm a kid from Akron. Could I just come in? They said, the coach gave him, you can come in for one practice to shoot. And so he did. He had this little video camera. He came in for one practice, and his whole thing was, he's like, they never said I couldn't come back. And so he just like went to the next practice, and he was kind of like in the corner of the room with his camera, and he just went to the next one, and no one ever said anything. And he just got closer and closer to the guys, and he captured over 200 hours of footage while they were in high school.
Wow.
So I met him after this. So I met him. He was like, he was sitting on this footage. I think we were working at a coffee shop in LA. We met through a mutual friend, and he told me, he's like, hey, I got like 200 hours of LeBron footage. I was like, that's crazy. Like, you got to make this into a documentary feature. And he's like, yeah, that's my plan. So I was fortunate for him to invite me along, and we still had a lot of stuff to do. Like, we had, because documentary is again, in feature world, you have a script and you have, lines and dialogue, and you kind of you shoot like what you've written, and then you have like how many takes, and then you edit the best takes together, whatever. Documentary is like a blank slate, like you just have all this footage. You have to construct a story from scratch. So we had a lot of good people involved, writers and editors that really helped shape this thing. But we just started putting stuff together. We knew we started to get LeBron on board. Like, even though I think Chris had some stuff like signed off when they were in high school, it was probably, we knew we wanted him involved. So it was a process. There's a lot of stories I could tell about how this got made, but it was a process getting it in front of him. We cut together a 15-minute like excerpt from the doc, and literally Romeo, who's one of the guys in there, featured. He drove us to LeBron's door. At that time, man, LeBron lived in this house. He was in the NBA at this time. I think it was like his second year. I can't remember, but like he just lived in this house in Akron that like you just like he just knocked on the door and he like answered it. It's like it wasn't like a gated community, nothing. And then he sat down, watched the 15-minute piece, and he just wanted to watch it over and over and over again. And he didn't say anything. We didn't know like what his reaction was, but he came away from that just saying, what do you guys need from me? And that was it, And so once we had him on board, it was easy to get the money. Like, we came back to LA, and we needed to raise the funds to, reshoot the interviews, go back and shoot B-roll, because we just had all this raw footage. So it was a process finding the right partner that would, a lot of people in LA just saw this again as a LeBron film. They just saw the footage, all the highlight stuff, and they didn't understand the story we were trying to tell. So, that was what was important to us. And we were new filmmakers. So we did find, a good partner that allowed us to just spend the proper amount of time going back, getting these interviews. So over those years, it's still, even this time, it took us a few years just to like go back and forth, get a hold of the interviews, shoot stuff with these guys. Of course, LeBron's time was limited. The more we were able to shoot and show him, eventually, like he put in more time with us. So I spent a lot of time with those guys, all those guys. I still talk to a lot of them. I think, and it was a blast after the film, like just going, we got to release it. Like, that was the time of our lives, man. Like, Nike got on board, they did a whole tour. It was wild. It was a really good time.
Imagine everything you love about the hobby in the palm of your hand. An entire store at your fingertips. Everything you need to know about cards is within your grasp. Unlock the secrets of the hobby. Plus, so much more. You don't have to imagine anymore. It's here. Card Ladder. Get the app today.